Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nature Source Care. My name is Dr. Funda Goldman. I'm a naturopathic physician. And today we're going to talk about the medicinal benefits of cardamom, spice. Elettaria cardamomum is the Latin, I believe. That's how you pronounce it. And this is part of my kitchen pharmacy series. So let's get into it. Note beforehand, the information presented here is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. For any symptoms that persist or worsen, please consult with a qualified medical professional. It is always best to determine the root cause of any disease and to develop a comprehensive treatment plan of which botanical medicine and nutrition can be a part. And while botanical medicine or nutrition remedies can be very effective, they may not be appropriate for everyone or as a single therapy. The other thing to know is that the two most common side effects of any plant-based medicine, um, like foods, teas, spices, that sort of thing, are digestive upset and skin itching. So keep that in mind. These are fairly rare. I haven't seen many instances of this in my it's over 15 years of practice, but the other two most common ones. So there you go. This and similar content videos, if you're interested in more of this kind of stuff, is located. I'm really good at organizing my videos into different playlists so that they're easier to find. So this and similar content will be in my botanical medicine, nutrition, and kitchen pharmacy playlists. The other thing is that the information presented here is based on my book, Drink for Your Health, Medicinal Teas, Juices, and Milks from Around the World, which is available on Amazon if you want to pick up a copy. The other thing is that, my channel here, it's on natural medicine. And so essentially, it's probably the, professor in me. It looks like I'm trending towards creating whole courses on different topics in natural medicine. So if you're interested in different course sets, I have them in different playlists. So I have a whole course on Marma therapy or Ayurvedic acupressure. The first video in that series is Marma points on the hand. So if you want to learn all 117 Marma points for personal use, that's available. I also have a whole playlist on Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine, on various topics. I have a whole playlist on Bach flower remedies, and the first video in that series is Pine for New Beginnings. I have a whole series on homeopathy, another series on yoga and meditation, another playlist on hydrotherapy or the therapeutic use of water. I have a body care series playlist, and I also have a cleansing playlist. And that cleansing playlist is not just about physical cleansing, but different ways of doing mental, emotional, and spiritual cleansing as well. So, lots to learn if you have the interest. So let's talk about cardamom and the medical benefits. So the information I'm presenting here is actually an integrated set of information from both Western or modern um, medicine, also Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine, and naturopathic medicine. So it is an integrated type of format here. So when we're looking at cardamom, the spice, Elettaria cardamomum, first of all, we want to figure out which parts are used, and it's essentially the seeds for cardamom. And then the other thing is how do you use these parts, right? So basically, you can use either the infusion or the decoction method of cooking or deriving the medical benefits of the spice. And I just put up another video on how to make medical teas with more specific information if you want to make a tea out of cardamom. So that's available to you. And then in terms of Ayurveda, the Ayurvedic properties are energetics because Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine, is essentially an energetic paradigm of medicine. Um, Cardamom decreases vata or wind energy. It increases pitta, just mildly though. This is a warming spice, that's why pitta does increase, but it's unlikely, even with fairly high doses of cardamom, to really, go deep into pitta land or fire land or inflammation land. And it also decreases kapha or earth energy. And then the energetics again are pungent sweet, heating, pungent sweet. So for those of you who are deep into Ayurveda, this will make sense to you. But if it doesn't, if you're not into Ayurveda, then you can still get a lot of benefits out of this information presented here. So the different systems that are affected by cardamom. For the nervous system, it's actually an antispasmodic type of herb. So if there's any sort of cramping or anxiety, so cramping in the mind, cramping in the body, this can be helpful, like especially cramping in the digestive system. This is a herb like when you make a tea or like chai, for example. Chai, part of the reason why chai often has cardamom in it is because of its soothing properties for the nervous system, the mind, the muscles, and the GI, which is nice. So it's also very helpful for the respiratory system, so helping with things like colds, coughs, bronchitis, asthma, hoarseness, because it will warm up the passages without overheating them. There's also a little bit of, again, a soothing effect to, even though it's warm and soothing. So especially when things are cold, dry, this helps a lot. Also, the cardiovascular system. There is a bit of an astringent property with cardamom, and so you can help increase the tone of blood vessels, and especially blood vessels that have developed in hemorrhoids. The gastrointestinal system, I mentioned a little bit, so indigestion of all kinds, gas, bloating, nausea, vomiting, belching, burping, acid regurgitation, gas, and it's also a gentle liver bile stimulant. So again, this is what helps smooth out the digestive function and why it's used, so much in Indian cooking, but also like even like post meals, sometimes you'll get a few seeds of cardamom to chew on and that sort of thing to help with digestion. It does also help the genitourinary tract, so it's a diuretic, so it can help with increased urination and also even burning urination. So even though it is a warming herb, there is a sort of gentle soothing property to it. So it's a gentle warming herb, but soothing also. For women, it can actually help with morning sickness. So sometimes the two most common herbs I hear of that are suggested for women who have morning sickness are usually ginger and mint. So the thing is, ginger is quite warming, and if you do too much ginger, you might end up with like nausea or vomiting even. That can, if the stomach gets too hot from warming herb, and ginger is definitely more warming than cardamom. And then mint is on the other side. Mint is a very cooling herb. And the thing is, if you do too much mint, one, it can loosen the caloric valve that sits between the sort of junction between the stomach and the small intestine. And because of that, you can get regurgitation. So food can come up from the small intestine into the stomach and bring the bile with that. And it's going to feel really, nasty, frankly, in the stomach and in the esophagus. So mint can have that kind of effect, especially if that that part of the GI is already compromised during morning sickness. You don't want more. And then the other thing with taking too much mint is that it actually really increases vata. And during pregnancy, with so many changes in the body and the mind, and especially for first pregnancy, wrapping the whole kind of being around developing a new identity in life, there's a lot of change. And so if somebody overdoes mint, that can increase vata or wind type symptoms. So again, from an Ayurvedic perspective. Um, so there are also special effects with cardamom. And one of the things it does is it balances the fourth chakra, so the heart chakra, which is an energy wheel in the center of the chest, which is sort of seat of emotions from an Ayurvedic perspective. It also helps to stimulate and clarify both the mind and the heart. So again, it's that gentle warming, warmth kind of gets things moving, but there's a sort of gentle soothing property to it. So it brings clarity to mind and emotions. It also helps to neutralize to some degree the mucus forming properties of milk, especially cow's milk. For people who do drink milk and they get congested, like kids, for example, they can develop a lot of mucus. Um, and if they drink too much milk, they might just be stuffed up all the time, that sort of thing. So cardamom can help that a bit, and that's part of the reason why, again, cardamom's added to a classic tea formula like chai, because it provides a balancing property besides the tastiness, right? The other thing that cardamom can do, to again some extent, not completely, is that it can antidote some of the caffeine in coffee. That may be part of why, like in the Middle East, for example, there tends to be more of a habit of adding cardamom as a spice to coffee to again neutralize some of the acid and the caffeine in there. But again, that doesn't give a full license to drink, pots and pots of coffee because it won't, cardamom won't neutralize everything, right? And then there's some general properties for cardamom or for the general body. So it does help with sexual debility. So again, it's a sort of warming. It brings warmth to the sexual organs. But again, it's also this like soothing property. So a lot of times people develop sexual debility because they're just running around stressed out all the time. And because all that vital energy is going to the outer world, and maybe they're stressed out, and there's all this kind of friction and things going through the nervous system, it leaves very little extra energy to be fully settled and grounded to develop enough sexual energy to be, fully functional at that level. So helps in that way. Um, it also helps with bleeding. There's a little bit of an astringent property to cardamom, so it can help with bleeding. A lot of people like the flavor of cardamom, so it's used as a flavoring for various things. And the other thing is that it helps to digest bananas. So if you have problems digesting bananas, you can sprinkle a little bit of cardamom on there to make it tasty and also to help you digest bananas if that's what you care to do. Okay, so there you go, cardamom. So as always, I want to thank you for your time. I always appreciate you stopping by to listen to one of my talks and all the different ways that people support my work in the channel, leaving really lovely comments and liking videos and actually the number of shares is pretty astounding to me. Hopefully what that means is that the content and information I'm putting out there is really helpful and useful to people. At least that's my hope. So again, thank you for all of it. And until the next one, you take care. Namaste.